So I don't usually do behind the scenes videos because frankly I don't really have that much to show, but I did want to share this one to show some ideas of what I was working with. I found a book that was homemade camera rigs that you could build yourself and decided I wanted to give at least one of them a shot just to see if it was as easy as it sounds. What I did was I decided to build a mount to hang the camera off of a car and get shots while traveling. It's a risky shot because cameras are expensive, lenses are expensive, and hitting the pavement at 20 miles an hour isn't really the healthiest thing for a camera. So to show you what I started with, I'm going to move the camera here, I'm going to show you the pieces that I built with, and I'm going to show you how I assembled them, show you how I mounted it on the car, show you some test footage that I shot with it. What I used was this removable support bar. It was a couple of bucks at the hardware store. The only thing I didn't like about it was the handle was hollow. With the hollow handle, I wasn't sure if running a bolt through it would support the weight of the camera, so what I did was I cut the grip out of the middle of this, and I took a piece of 1 1/4 inch PVC pipe. I glued a 1 inch PVC pipe inside of it. That way I could make sure it's still hollow, still lightweight, but it's just that much sturdier. I took the suction cup ends of the support bar and I glued those into the 1 1/4 inch PVC pipe using PVC glue. I ran a bolt that was 3/8 of an inch for the standard tripod head with lock washers to hold the bolt in place. I put one nut on the bolt to hold that to the frame itself, and I added a second nut so that when I mount the tripod head, I can use the second nut as an adjustment to make sure the tripod head is locked in place nice and sturdy. If you lock the suction cups down, it pulls the cup up to the body of the holder, and that way when you set it down, it sets down even. If you don't have it even, it's going to rock back and forth. You'll know you're uneven, you need to adjust it before you glue it in. Because if you don't have them lined up perfectly, they will not hold a suction and you're going to end up with your camera on the ground. I added the fancier ball joint tripod head. It's got a removable plate so it's easier to take the camera off and then put the rig in place, take the rig off of the car, whatever you need to do. You can see here on this car I do have body panels that are curved, lines that don't appear to be perfectly smooth at first glance. I did find this section here on the door works perfectly if you mount it horizontally. It's smooth, it's flat, the suction cups hold like a charm. I did this experiment with my older Canon PowerShot SX10 because if something went wrong, I didn't want to drop the Canon T3i onto the ground at 20 miles an hour. That seemed like a bad idea to start with out of the gate. So this video, I'm going to cut it short. I'm not going to show the whole thing. I ran a course around our local park using the Canon PowerShot. As you can see, it takes every bounce, every jolt from the road that runs through the car. You can see it right on the camera. But the shot is nice, the shot is locked. A little bit of image stabilization, post-production might work to hold that. Since it's level with the car, you can use the car itself as a base point to try and stabilize that image, but that's what I've got for that camera. After that initial test run, I switched over to the Canon T3i with a 18 to 55 millimeter lens. I think I had it set right about 20 millimeters. I didn't have it all the way zoomed out. But because I was testing the rig more than the camera, I didn't make a specific note. So it wasn't all the way zoomed out. I'd say it's somewhere in the 20 to 35 millimeter range. Got all the settings, took off again. This lens does have image stabilization, so it smoothed out the image a little bit. Again, that's something maybe can be fixed in post-production. I haven't played with it yet. I just threw this together to show how the rig works. I wanted to demonstrate the rig itself. After another course through the park with the T3i, then I moved the camera up. My car happens to have a sunroof, so I got the glass surface, nice smooth surface, mounted the camera there, shot down at the hood just so you could get a perspective of the stationary relationship to the car with the ground moving underneath. So there you have it. It's not pretty, it's not the greatest looking rig in the world, it holds tight. If I were to use this for any length of time, I would probably put a stronger tether on it. If I had a longer tether, I'd be willing to mount it, say on the trunk lid, facing backwards to show that shot, show another car coming up behind it, mount it on the hood of the car to show you coming up behind a car chases, something along those lines. It's a pretty flexible system that, as long as you can find a clean, flat spot to mount this, I think it can be used with just about anything. And one thing about the support bar is it's listed in customer reviews that it can hold and steady over 200 pounds of people pulling themselves out of bathtubs. I didn't test that. I probably would exceed that limit, but I did see notes that people said it was known to pull tiles off of their wall if they didn't release it properly when they tried to pull it off. So I think it's pretty sturdy. I think it can hold quite a bit of camera weight. I don't know, I mean, the more camera weight, obviously it means the more money you've got in it, so I don't know that you'd want to try that, but for a lightweight camera, for a quick shot, I think this rig does pretty nicely. This is version 1.0. Who knows what I'm going to figure out to do if I try it again.